When Claire Evans walked into the small claims courtroom that morning, she wasn't there for revenge. She was there for closure. For 6 years, she had loved and trusted Mark, a man who once said, "You make me want to be better." They had built a life together, shared rent, shared plans, and eventually shared savings meant for a small home in Ohio. But the day Claire discovered he had drained their joint account, it wasn't the money that broke her. It was the message he left behind. "I'm sorry, Claire. I need to figure out who I am." It sounded familiar, almost practiced, like he had said it before to someone else. Weeks passed, and she learned what figuring out really meant. He had moved across the state, bought a used car, and started a small landscaping business, all using her money. When she called, he didn't answer. When she texted, he replied once, "You'll get it back when I can." He never could, or never planned to. Her friends told her to move on, but something inside her, that quiet, fierce voice that once helped every student at the counseling center, said no. This wasn't about heartbreak. It was about accountability. So she filed a case. It wasn't about the full amount. She knew she might not get that, but she wanted the truth spoken aloud, for once, not hidden behind charm and half promises. The courtroom was smaller than it looked on TV. Fluorescent lights hummed, a camera crew adjusted their tripods. It was one of those televised justice shows. Claire didn't care about being on screen. She cared about being heard. When Mark walked in, dressed too casually for court, she felt her hands shake, not from fear, but from realization. He looked the same, maybe a little older, but the smirk was still there. He gave her a quick nod, as if they were meeting for lunch, instead of facing years of lies. And when the judge entered, the judge started with Mark's side. He said Claire had gifted him the money, that they were partners, and partners share. He tried to sound sincere. He even pulled up text messages where she'd said, "I believe in you." But the judge wasn't moved. She leaned forward and asked quietly, "Do you have any proof she intended that money as a gift?" He hesitated. That pause, that single second of silence, changed everything. Claire handed over her evidence, bank records, messages showing she had asked him multiple times to pay her back, screenshots of his own posts bragging about starting from scratch with zero debt. The audience gasped. Even the cameraman froze. Mark tried to interrupt, but the judge cut him off. "Sir," she said sternly, "you didn't just take her money. You took advantage of her trust." Claire didn't cry. She sat there, still, while years of doubt lifted off her shoulders. The ruling came swift and clear. He owed her every cent, plus additional damages for deceit. The gavel hit once, but for Claire, it sounded like a door slamming shut on the past. As she left the courtroom, one of the crew members whispered, "People are gonna love you for this. You kept your calm when everyone else would have yelled." But Claire didn't care about fame or sympathy. She just cared that the truth, her truth, had finally been said out loud. Later that night, she got a message from an unknown number. "You did the right thing. I saw your case. I wish I had your courage." She smiled, not because she wanted praise, but because her small story had already reached someone who needed to hear it. Sometimes courage doesn't roar. Sometimes it just sits in a courtroom, waiting for the moment when